Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the Roscoe Village Board meeting. It is Tuesday, September 2nd, 6:30 p.m. Shall we stand for pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Right,
Here.
Rhoda,
Here.
Platt. Me,
Here.
Simon, Babcock,
Here.
Gustafson.
Here.
Thank you.
Item number 1, may I have a motion to approve our minutes from the August 19th meeting?
So moved. Second.
Any corrections? Calling for the vote, please.
Babcock,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
thank you.
Public comment. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment? If you do, please stand, state your name. There'll be a chance at the end of the meeting. Thank you. President's report. Before we get to Mr. Anderson, I just have a quick question of board members. How many of you think you're going to be walking in the parade on Saturday? I will write up an introductory blurb for Sunday, Sunday. I'm going to write up an introductory blurb that will be given to our narrator, so he can announce your names. If you're not sure, yet, send me a text.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Okay, and then secondly, the village has candy. It's all been bagged. It's in the corridor there, so grab the bags sometime that you want to pass out. And last, is anyone you're going to walk, right? No car. Okay.
No village vehicle.
Yes, there will be.
I'm providing the car, but I'm not gonna be there.
Okay. So we'll have my husband test drive it for his pleasure. I'll check him out.
Keep an eye on it, make sure it comes back.
He comes back in one piece and I have to leave
You know,
proof of
kid,
insurance.
it's wild. Get on the wheel.
I'll leave proof of insurance.
Make sure he's in forward.
Okay, thank you. All right, next under the report, I would like to introduce to you Joe Anderson of Place Foundry. And Joe is going to lead us to an overview and have some conversation about the Hodges Small Business Incubator Space. Do you need a podium or would you like the podium?
Need space.
Of course.
So, weeks ago, we had our bid opening for the Hodges Run pop-up project. And our bids came in higher than anticipated by a little over 30%. So what we've done in the meantime is had some discussions with our low bidder, Scandrolli Construction, to talk about where some of the bids for some of the pieces came in at. And identified some items that could be scaled back, removed, phased. But I'd say it was just kind of a tip of the iceberg. So I received a report or some information from Scandrolli and typed that up and sent it out. I can go over it line by line or give you an idea of what we could look at to take out, or we can keep looking at it.
How many items are there?
Seven.
I'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah, if you want to put it up on the screen, I can run through it
So
quickly.
Is this just phase one, right?
So, yeah, it's not, the project is not phased.
I thought we were doing like the parking lot is in the front, phase one, and then phase two separate, I thought. No,
I think the conversation had been that the whole site had to be prepared in phase 1, and then phase 2 was going to be the play area at the back.
okay.
Correct.
So part of what we had to adjust to was the pop-up, retail pop-up. Retail sheds, the school is not doing their class any longer. So they've been panelized, but they don't have the classes to erect them on the pads. So we had to add into our bid, the labor to erect those. And of course, with this project, we have union labor, so we don't have the volunteer labor. So that's one thing, if we can solicit and find volunteer labor, we would save $70,000. The restroom building was another large item, $455,000. And just for reference, we did a restroom building at Buyer Stadium, which is this picture here in the plan. That's a 2 restroom facility with a utility room. It's not heated. And that came in at approximately $300,000. And that was just finished a couple months ago. So if you take our building in comparison, we have a much larger park, larger facility. We have 4 restrooms, the utility room, and then we also have a workroom for the pop-up sheds. And we also heat ours in this case, because the programming for the pop-up sheds would be, Christmas time, some Christmas markets. So we thought having space for the retailers to utilize some workspace, and so it's heated.
So this still includes the kitchen and,
So it's not a kitchen per se. I don't know if you have the plans to pull up, but there is some work counter. There's a table and a sink, but there's no full-blown kitchen. So extra spot.
And the utility closet is.
So the utility closet, it holds a mop sink, for any cleanup. The heating units and the hot water heaters for the restrooms.
Did we cut back the number of stalls, number of rooms, I guess toilet rooms? Does that help the cost? Yes, what's the biggest portion of that cost?
What I'm trying to show here is $300,000
Yeah.
for 2 restrooms and utility room. If we were to add 2 restrooms to that, maybe you double the cost, you get to 500, 600,000. So we've got a multi space building, a workroom for 455 that's heated. It seems like a decent value. Now, if we wanted to cut it back, we could, but I don't think we gain value by doing that. We could cut off, 2 restrooms and maybe save a little bit of money.
That's the only thing I'll say about, just because we met, obviously, and Mike, I think you probably met them too, down at McHenry. When I talked to her, I talked to her about the restrooms, and her only comment about the restrooms was you need to have it heated. I don't think she, obviously sizing based on the number of people we have, whether you cut it to 2 stalls or 4 like we have. She really didn't have any one way or the other on the work area in the back, so if that's gonna save a lot, I suppose we could do that. But her big comment was that you have to have the heated restroom for the people who are working there. So it was extra for her big takeaway in the restroom portion, because I asked about that, because we've got that back area, the workroom area, we've got 4 stalls, but so I guess I can take that for what it's worth.
They're operating all year, or?
No, they operate to December, day of Christmas. So yeah,
So
December
you
30th roughly,
heated for what?
for anybody in October,
For the-
November, and then January, yeah. Or not January, but then, April. I suppose anytime during the earlier months as well, because these people are working out there full time, or not full time, but throughout the week. That's sort of back in there, so.
Quick question.
Anyway, that's what I got.
Our proposed plan of what we're building, are they gender specific or unisex bathrooms that we're doing?
So they're each individual
Okay.
toilets, so
So anybody can
Yeah.
use anything, perfect, all right.
if you want to scroll a little bit, Joe. So number 3 was a dumpster enclosure. $18,000 could be saved by not providing a dumpster enclosure. Not sure how the village would want to handle trash collection, but typically when we do a parking lot and could be a sufficient amount of trash, we, I think your ordinance requires
believe that is
section
one.
closures.
I think that is one of our ordinances.
Yes.
Because I built a few of them when I had my remodeling company here in town.
Yes. But there may be a way to do it less costly than 18,000. I don't know what that dumpster closures on that.
Is it metal? Is it treated wood? Is it?
But yes,
Yeah, without pulling up the drawings, we have details to make it kind of match the restroom building, so
uh,
I'm
So
sure it
this
could be
is
scaled back a
scaled.
little bit. And then as we were laying out the park and knowing that the playground would be a future installation, we had some additional paths that we had shown to be, some of them were an alternate for the material, but we had shown some paths that we thought maybe could be taken out now. And those were a very small amount of dollars.
For the path made up.
I believe they were called out as mulch, and then we took the mulch away and did a crushed rock and then did an alternate for concrete. So this was the very basic mulch path. Then we had a conversation where we said, we don't want mulch, and we made that adjustment.
What was the overall bid for this one you're working from on this?
It's the lowest bid that came in was just over $2 million.
Okay.
So we haven't gotten to the big number thing other than.
Other than the restroom, yeah, the rest of it are kind of small things that add up to about 200,000.
I mean, if you just initially prepared the land for everything, could you start, you would start with that, right? What was the cost of that?
I don't have that breakout.
I mean, that would be the first thing we do is just prepare for everything. Is that your plan or recommendation?
I guess when you prepare for which pieces?
Well, the parking lot
Parking lot.
and the pads for the buildings and then whatever utilities that we need for the, right?
Yeah, we can have that broken out if we want to break it down into an initial phase.
I think we'd have to do that in order to figure out if we can just do the cost
Sure.
and pay as we go, but it would look like we got something completed. And then people could see what its future gonna be, and maybe that's a way to raise money.
I didn't ask for a breakout of the parking lot, but I would guess that it's probably in the $190,000 to $200,000 range for the parking lot.
And would you do the pads for all of the pop-ups
We've had that discussion and we have breakout costs.
for the pads?
Yeah, when we were trying to get ahead of the high school because we thought they were gonna be able to work on those in the fall.
Were the pads gonna be there and then the labor is just for setting up the?
Correct.
Pre-form?
We've included the pads are in the base bid.
Okay,
That 70,000 was just to put the structures on the pads.
but if the structure is already built, they're just need to be set up,
Correct.
including the roof.
Including the roofing material, roofing labor, siding material, siding labor. We've kept in our breakdown, the pads, the heating and cooling system that goes into those.
I mean, it seemed like to me we could figure out, okay, we're gonna do it. What can we do and we can pay for, even if you didn't put up all the pop-ups, if the pads were all there.
Sure.
You could just put up, half of them or
Right.
a third of them.
Right.
To get down to the bid we are close to it. Cause 2 million so that's 30% less was 150.
Yeah, 1.4, 1.5, yeah.
That include all the exterior material in the bid.
So we did those because we didn't know if they were gonna be still donated and the labor still donated, so we got alternates for those that are not part of the 2 million. So we're saying if you couldn't get, secure the material or secure the labor, here's what it would cost to wrap it into this bid, but again, Scandrola's union company, I think you could get, volunteer labor.
I think that we could get pretty close, but I mean, maybe you don't have to put the restroom right away. That's gets you right down to your cost.
Sure.
And then people would know that, okay, in the future, there's gonna be a restroom. But at least you have a lot of what we have, we could get done, right? Just my thought.
How about the parking lot? Is that something to consider? I guess I don't know either. The parking lots maybe something to pull out earlier. That's what our
I
thoughts.
don't think so. I mean, if you could get it where it looks like it's working, you have a restroom. That would be, they'd have to, you put porta potties out there in the meantime. But to me, that gets you right down to your number.
It would be difficult for people to access, especially the handicapped, if there were a parking there and a couple of paths too.
I think you make it look like it's all the way complete, minus the restroom and porta potties, there's get the money to do it.
Scale back the number of, I heard you say scale back the number of 12 by 12s that are put up the
Well,
first.
you
year.
would not have to do that. You said restroom was 400 and what?
455.
So 455,000, you take that off the 2 million and you're down to the 1.5 that we bid.
The other thing is, if we didn't do them all at once, maybe the high school might have a class, the following year. Just this fall, they didn't, right?
Correct.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, the 70,000 labor, that's the big deal. The big deal is the restroom. You lock that off, put porta potties, you solve the problem because we have enough money to do everything except for the restroom. And that, to me, is a future thing that maybe you could raise money with the 501c to get you. Because you got it all there and say, hey, we can't do the restroom, we got everything there, and people would solve that problem. There's enough places they could go in the meantime.
No, I'm just kind of thinking it would be. Porta potty station, help us replace these for the
Yeah,
fundraiser
there you
type
go.
thing. No one
Anyways,
wants
that would be my
physical
take,
potties.
because you get to the number, just lop that off,
Yeah.
and then it looks like everything is done.
And there's some other things that we could look at too, trying to find some other dollars. We'll just go through this real quick. We had some lighting around the park. Figure if we're taking out a path, we might as well take out the lighting. To light the paths, so another 18,000. And then Roscoe.
So no lighting right now?
No, so just this little green area here, we're proposing taking that piece out if we're gonna remove that part of the path.
For the future.
We might as well take the lights out too.
Excuse me, but you would put in the necessary supply line.
It's.
I mean, is it penny wise, pound foolish type thing to put it off in the future?
I think we wanna get everything done that we can get done,
Okay.
minus the restroom. I mean, that gets us to a number, and then you don't have to, you're talking about $50,000 off of that, off our number, right?
That is the big
No.
elephant.
But if we're talking about that, we're putting in like. Water lines, sewer lines ready to prepare for that future building, or is that?
Those would come out with that number.
Okay.
And it's not that far away. The water's just on the north, it's not quite north, but the northwest side of the street, and the sanitary's on site about halfway into property, so. If we wanted to get it there, saying we're gonna do that someday, then we can get that breakout number for the water and the sewer to get to that location. Then you just have to plug in.
So again, the main section doesn't have lighting?
No, so
How's that?
all these little black dots,
That's,
those are all lights.
so
that is,
That we're proposing to take out is just a small amount, so,
Gotcha.
yeah.
where the path was gonna be.
I know what you're saying, it's got a junction where they can just continue the fees.
But we gotta decide what we want to do first. And then go with that.
The last things I'll show you is that I think you're right, take the big one, but, Roscoe has a really nice landscaping ordinance and plan, so, about $70,000 worth of landscaping, trees, plants. I know we've talked about that the garden club could do a lot of the, the flowers and stuff like that, so maybe we can pare that back a little bit and just put in some of the larger trees, and the rest can be done by garden club or.
Just one more time. If you look, it looks like it's all done and all you're missing the restrooms. People are gonna go there.
Yeah.
And they'll solve the problem if they have to go to the restroom, go to Dairy Queen, or there's enough other business around them to buy a drink or something. But I think that it would look like we made a major success, because nobody's gonna go anyplace for the restroom. It happens to be there, but I think to Carol's point, you put porta potties out there and you just put it on Troy and have Troy go there unload those. Sorry.
I know there's temporary trailers that come in that have, toilets that could be heated, that could do that for the short time you would need that during the year.
They do, there's companies that actually rent shipping container restrooms for,
Well, the Riverwalk downtown Chicago has multiples of those along that road.
Yeah, to me, I mean, we get there, we get it done, everybody and around here sees the project, they're excited about it, and you're finished, but nobody's gonna go there because the restroom is there. Sure.
Has that been the direction of the board to?
Dane, speak up, let's hear from you.
No, I mean, the toilet, like you said, the restrooms probably for the people that work there. You know, if they're there all day, they're gonna need something. And then the utility would be something for if they're planning on doing any type of food or beverage, they might need that, but I think if we could do something nice with not just any old porta potty, but just something nice to
Yeah,
give
I-
them some place to go.
I think John's, if that's something we can do, can solve that problem. I just think that we want to make some progress, get something done. That gets the project almost to public, it all looks like it's finished. And could be the reason why we raise money quickly for that restaurant.
Get some enthusiasm
Yeah.
once we get the buildings up.
You do a fundraiser. Let's put $1.
So I'm hearing there's a general consensus to try to get the greatest amount of finishing to this coming in at 1.4, let's say. With what would be the eliminating the big ticket item, the restroom. And exploring some options, going the extreme from porta potties to a rental unit for short term. Is that the direction here? And then you would get the cost information to us.
The deadline that we're looking at here, I will check on donated materials. And I'm fairly confident that I can schmooze and beg for the 70 grand. With help from Bethany Mead.
So the timeline, when you speak of timeline, laying out the necessary infrastructure is doable or not doable realistically this year?
That'll give me an idea how fast I'd have to go back.
it's pretty mild, so I'd want to verify with Scandrolli before I committed to anything, but.
But more likely next spring. So it
I would
would
assume
from
that we
next
would,
spring.
we wouldn't have
This
it
is a-
ground broken until March.
This is a 2026 project then. Okay. So like the 2026 project.
Just because we've got weather now, that's not bad. but
Right.
That could change in October, it could be perfect till Christmas, we don't
Plus,
know.
plus you have to review what he comes forward with regarding the new.
The groundwork, we know, right? The parking lot, the pads and then whatever utilities gotta be laid, correct?
Yeah, I would,
I mean, even if we don't get the buildings up this year, there possibly be a chance that we could get the groundwork done?
I would think so. We were gonna do the pads in a lot less time.
Right, and so now we were throwing in a parking lot and then whatever utilities. We could, cause that way then next year, if it's a 26 project, that would be the actual putting up the buildings and you'd have everything ready to go.
Or maybe the parking lot too, depends on how fast everything else goes. Asphalt plants.
Another question too is we got the 14 buildings. Do we want to stick with 14 buildings there? Or is there any benefit, I suppose, to pouring all the pads now or to building everything? I mean, that's sort of the amongst different.
Charge you again, mobilize, I think. if
Just
you're
a
gonna do
question.
that,
To me, you want to leave everything there, but is that something that Troy's group could facilitate the installation of those or not?
The erecting of those?
Yeah.
No.
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 You want Scantroller or another concrete specific company
not the concrete.
Assemble the building.
Some of the building.
You just assemble the building.
So we're not,
It's that and drywall and wiring and everything.
if we get the groundwork, we can deal with the
Yeah,
building
that makes sense.
next year.
I think you just do a plan and make it look like progress is happening, so. How quickly, Joe, can you get some update on what we could do this year?
I can talk to them tomorrow and see how quickly they can move.
But again, the consensus is not to exceed expending 1.4 this year.
I want to stay within the 1.4. I know I'm myself.
The greatest bang.
Leader to the party with this.
The greatest bang, the greatest
Yeah,
purchases for 1.4.
well, they're gonna have to give us a price just for what we want this year, right?
But I mean, the latitude to recommend removing some things that put over, whether it's the lighting or another path or scaling back more vegetation, planting. I mean, all of those would add up eventually. Is that clear direction?
I think so.
Anything else?
There's no EV station, right?
How are you So, just to address it, that came through our mechanical consultant, our electrical engineer. He had a meeting with the EV charging people and they said, hey, this would probably be a really nice thing for Roscoe. And because we were at the end of the project, said, okay, see if that's okay if we put it in as an alternate. So we asked, said yes, but when we asked, there was no, Joe and Carol did not know that there was gonna be.
It's just like
charge, and we didn't realize there was gonna be an additional charge, but again, that's the way our invoicing works. Those additional things show up as line items, so you see those. Joe called right away and said, we didn't ask for that. And I said, you didn't ask for that? He said, no, we didn't ask for that. So talked to my colleague in the office and so there was just a misunderstanding there. But there is a significant payback and ComEd, is ComEd the supplier here?
Yes.
There's a pretty significant rebate also. So if you're interested in hearing about it, we're at that point where you can listen to
What about the multi-use parking lot? Just an idea.
Bridge Street?
Yep.
We didn't think about it that quick enough for that one. It would just take additional power.
Perfect.
It would be a good location,
I,
but
for one, as an EV driver, would love to see what the cost, the impact and the return would be on something like that. Before I would like jump and say, yeah, let's do
yes,
this.
no, I think,
Oh,
and I think you should, I've seen the numbers, I think you should.
So it's Porter Park too.
Well, I know like the charging stations are few and far between. We have one now in South Beloit. We have Woodman's for Tesla, Rivian, and then a few adapters with Volkswagen and Ford can work with
Yeah,
those.
this one, Joe, are you saying we're gonna make money on it, or we just have to pay less?
From what I'm seeing at a low usage, you would make money on it. Yeah, in the first year.
To offset all of the costs. How many years would it take to go?
Read here for that.
To your, yes. If if you get the ComEd rebate, within, I think 3 years, it pays for that difference.
But there's no EVs in those spaces. That's too, the spots that somebody else could be using, it doesn't have.
I'm saying the other parking lots that have taken up a spot.
Maybe in that parking lot's not big, if we
When we discuss Porter Park 2. Possibility could go up there.
Well,
So, anything else? Thank you. So, my last question, you'll send to us information
Yes.
in a couple of days? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's move on then to the cash report and bills for this evening. We have before you expenditures totaling $563,903.87. Payroll is $107,831.03. So this evening, you're asked to approve total expenditures of $671,734.90. There are no other fuel expenses at this time. So may I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
I had a question, if on some of those bills that were being reviewed, are we gonna see the Hutchison bill?
Yes, that bill will go back on next time. That was for the SIP.
Other questions? All right, hearing none other, calling for the vote, please.
Bright,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Thank you.
Year-to-date revenue and expenditures, we'll get to a little later. I have something I'll pass out to you, and you'll have 2 weeks to review it, and Mark Olson will come and address your questions, but I'll pass it out to you in a few moments. Right, under old business, item number 6. Mr. Henry,
Yes.
what is needed here?
Okay, so the proper procedure would be a motion to reconsider the adoption of 2025 R35. Would be the first motion.
Motion to reconsider.
Can I have clarity? Is that a motion to reconsider what we already passed or to reconsider because of the veto?
It's one and the same thing, basically, so yes, it would be.
So just open discussion on the whole thing, I guess.
If a motion to reconsider is adopted, then yes, you would have, a second motion would be a motion to adopt 2025 R35 notwithstanding the veto.
So first,
It's a motion to reconsider. If that fails, then the veto stands.
okay, so the motion was made by trustee Wright, seconded by
I'll second.
calling for the vote. Motion to reconsider.
Mead,
Yes.
Babcock, Rhoda,
Yes.
Wright.
Yes.
Motion fails.
Well, no, it takes a majority of a quorum. Pass a motion to reconsider. So
We're good to go.
that's a majority of a quorum is 3, obviously, of the 4. So now if someone would need to make a motion to adopt the resolution notwithstanding the veto.
I'll make that motion.
Again, clarity. I was asked by trustee Sima to read a statement and hand a letter to everybody for somebody who want to use that. He's out of the country today because of business. And I don't know what that time would be to do that.
Okay, so first there needs to be a second. There's been a first, we need a second, and then
You can enter that in.
I guess.
I'll make a second.
Okay, state the motion again, please.
a motion to adopt resolution 2025 R35 notwithstanding the veto.
That's the second one, correct?
Correct,
So the first one is the reconsider.
correct. Or if you want to put it another way, a motion to pass resolution 2025 R35 over the veto. It's the same motion.
So vote is taken.
Second.
Yes, we have a motion and a second.
Right, so now would be the time for
For
discussion.
discussion.
Do you want to do all the way for that one?
No,
No.
we're doing the discussion.
You want, you need to take one, I guess, and pass it along. Oh. I have to read this to the record, correct? Okay.
The clerk has a copy. She'll.
Clerk has a copy. All right, this is correspondence from trustee Sima. Village board is deeply disappointed by President Kelcheson's decision to veto the board's 5-1 vote to repaint the downtown mural, which does not reflect the identity or heritage of Roscoe. This decision disregards the overwhelming feedback from residents and the private owners of the building of which the mural is displayed, but both of whom have clearly expressed their desire for change. The board has consistently prioritized community input and transparency. In contrast, President Gustafson has repeatedly made unilateral decisions, often without informing or consulting the board. This pattern undermines collaboration and erodes trust in our local governance. In addition, President Gustafson's frequent invitations to the media to cover frivolous confrontations between herself and the board are backfiring, casting the village in a negative light. Rather than elevating public discourse, these spectacles create a perception of dysfunction in village leadership, which discourages businesses from considering Roscoe as a place to invest or relocate. This behavior makes clear that President Gustafson is focusing solely on her opinions and agenda, reflecting both her lack of business experience and her inexperience in working with others, rather than collaborating with the board for the best interest of the village. It is important to note that President Gustafson originally supported the installation of the mural, which was intended to be funded privately. However, those funds were never secured, and the village ultimately spent $30,000 of public funds to complete the project. For President Gustafson to now oppose the use of public funds for its replacement is not only inconsistent, but hypocritical. Furthermore, the original mural was installed without any input from Roscoe residents. The board's decision to pursue its redesign is not just about aesthetics. It is about restoring community voice and ownership. Plans are already underway to create a new mural using private funds as originally intended, and with meaningful input from Roscoe residents to ensure the work truly represents our village. In the final design, if the final design resembles the current mural theme or imagery, it will at least reflect the will of the people and be funded appropriately. This stands in stark contrast to President Gustafson's past actions, which have repeatedly ignored public sentiment. The board remains committed to transparency, collaboration, and representing the interests of Roscoe residents.
My comments, I
Could I
strongly,
comment for that?
certainly,
I'm just a messenger.
Yep, I get it. Mike's not here. Provide a letter to that. But I object to many of the broad statements that he makes in that letter. Which is, you know, it's easy to make broad statements without identifying specific items. So it's Mike Simon's opinion of those things. I disagree. As I voted before, while I may not support, it was before many of the people on this board spent $30,000 to do that, and only know this by hearsay of what happened before. And while Terry makes a good point bringing to the board to get our involvement, my issue with it, with whether I support it or don't support it, it is a mural. It's better than a blank wall. But it's not our responsibility to use public funds to pay to have a building that's owned by a private individual. Now, if what Mike Simon says in the letter to raise money, where's that? Making comments of that, but I've not heard any discussion about that. Who's designing that? In all transparency, that's not been brought up to this board. So I think it's inappropriate for a letter to be addressed discounting our mayor, where broad statements are made when the issue at hand is, are we painting the building or not painting the building? And whether you want to paint it, fine, but raise the money privately, paint the building however you want to, get the public support, which I understand didn't happen before. But I wouldn't have voted for in the first place if we didn't secure the money in the first place. That's mine.
I'm just gonna speak from my experience just with this, since I've been on the board now since May 1st. Resolution 2025 R-35, that resolution was to do a $3,600 grant, if I'm mistaken, to paint over what was there to have it ready for the next phase. So it wasn't, I would not support the village paying $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to paint the mural. I'm in agreement with that. But to cover something that we've had so much outreach on, I can't say no to a grant, especially when,
With all due respect, John, we didn't get a lot of outreach objected to. In fact,
Yes, we
Carol provided, well, I guess you take a look at
I'll print
the
them.
numbers. If you
Alright.
got 10,000 people here, we didn't get close to that. But anyway, the point is, it's public funds are paying a bill. It should.
I've seen at
All
least
right,
10.
Sorry, go ahead.
okay. I want to bring this to a close with my comments. I find this reprehensible. It is full of erroneous misstatements, representations, and one person's opinion. To characterize me in all of this manner is nothing more than a superficial, irresponsible diatribe. And it is very disappointing that someone would rise or sink to the level of composing something such as this. The central issue is, are you going to spend taxpayer money? We can argue all night and list how many people want it and how many people do not. To simply say that the overwhelming number of people want it painted is not correct. There have been official polls. We have all gotten communication and checked various sources of social media. But let's bring this, we have the question before us, and we'll do a vote. So stating the motion again, please, Attorney.
Sure, and the motion is to adopt resolution 2025 R35, notwithstanding the village president's veto. Or in other words, to pass 2025 R35 over the village president's veto. It's the same thing. So if you vote yes, you're voting to pass it over the village president's veto. If you vote no, voting to uphold the president's veto.
We have the motion in the second, so now it's a call for vote.
Yes. And I would kindly, when you vote, give a one-sentence statement as to why you're voting the way you are.
Mead,
Yes.
Reason?
Doesn't need one.
Yeah.
Next motion.
I think the public, you claim you want to be open.
Next
The
one.
public deserves a reason.
Just, there's been more negative about it than positive. And I
Thank you.
just feel that it could be anecdotal, but I'm just saying, the point is that I feel personally, yes, I don't like it either. But it's not the personal reason, it's also because there's been a lot of negative feedback over that mural.
Thank you.
right?
Yes.
Are you going to give a reason? Moving on.
Rhoda,
I'm voting yes, and for the reason of this. I spent many committee of the whole meetings first discussing this topic. Then we moved it on to the village board. We voted it 5-1 in favor after having those discussions. A big public outcry saying we want to save the mural never came. People did not come here to the meeting. We had plenty of opportunity to speak publicly here or on Zoom. Because of that, I felt very. I mean, we spent a lot of time, had a 5-1 vote, which is totally cool, and then they get blindsided basically with a veto vote the next meeting. So I'm gonna stick with my original vote of yes.
Thank you.
Babcock,
Voting no. For the simple reason I stated. We shouldn't be using the village funds to pay for repainting a building that's owned privately. I'm all supportive of raising the money privately, if that person wants to do it, but we shouldn't be using village funds to doing that.
thank you.
So
The motion fails.
veto stands.
Veto stands.
Moving on to
What's that?
item number 7.
The motion fails because it requires 2/3 of the trustees then in office to vote to approve it.
Going on to item number 7. May I have a motion to approve resolution 2025 R40 declaring certain equipment and personal property as surplus. you have a list in your documents and you examined it at the committee of the whole. The obsolete items were identified by the various department heads. Is there a motion?
Yes, I would. Second,
Babcock one,
Babcock first, I'll second.
Mead,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Rhoda.
Yes.
Thank you.
Under final action, item number 8. Is there a motion? May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-15? Approving a variance request to waive the requirement for perimeter landscaping and setback of a parking expansion located at 13548 Metric Road.
So moved.
Second.
Wright,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Rhoda.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 9, may I have a motion to approve resolution 2025 R41, approving the tentative and final plat 3 of the Glenwood Estates subdivision.
So moved.
Second.
Babcock,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 10, may I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-16, approving a text amendment revising the Village of Roscoe zoning ordinance, section 15-175, related to land divisions, and Article 3 residential district regulations of the Village Code of Ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
Babcock,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Mead.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item number 11, may I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-17, approving a text amendment revising the Village of Roscoe zoning ordinance, Article 7 of Chapter 155, related to accessory structures and accessory buildings of the Village Code of Ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. I mean, we went through this last.
Wright,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
Item number 12, may I have a motion to approve resolution 2025 R42, approving hourly wage scale for public works part-time summer employees.
So moved.
I'll second.
Babcock,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Rhoda.
Yes.
Thanks.
Item 13, may I have a motion to approve resolution 2025 R43, approving a lease agreement with Enterprise for replacement of 3 marked squads and transference of 1 currently leased unmarked vehicle from the village lease to the police department lease.
So moved.
Second.
Mead,
Yes.
Rhoda,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
Thank you.
Under new business, I'm going to distribute to each of you a packet of material that we will use over various periods of time. Pass that and pass it on to Mike, right? And this is Amy. You pass that over to William. Here's one. The whole thing goes to William, the entire thing to William, and then this entire thing too. So each of you have in front of you the 7-month report, expenditures versus budgeted. And as I said at the outset, this will be addressed in 2 weeks when the village treasurer is here. So please take a look at it. And if there's any questions, you can pose them to him at that time. Now, before you go on, there are a couple of clarifications or things that I want to call your attention to in the revenue stream. If you look at account number 3210 under general revenue, you will see the retailer's occupation tax. That is the sales tax. You also see under that local use tax. Now, the local use tax is the tax that everyone is required to report when you buy a product outside of Illinois, you buy your TV in Wisconsin, you bring it back to Illinois, you are to pay a tax for the privilege of using that in the state of Illinois, and you report those on your state income tax returns. There's been a great deal of, you wouldn't be surprised, with compliance. People don't do that. And as a result, the amount of revenue collected has been falling due to the non-compliance. And secondly, when that local use tax is returned to municipalities, it's done on a per capita basis. Based on population, we get our share based on population. So the state of Illinois, several years ago, the governor signed into law the equity or level the playing field, the Illinois Retail Act. That was signed in June of 19 and started to go into effect in 2021. What now happens is you'll see that the use tax has gone down dramatically and the retailer's occupation tax has gone up. Everything now is going to be reclassified as the sales tax. And the sales tax will be paid based on the point of delivery. So wherever you live in the village of Roscoe, whatever you order on Amazon, the village of Roscoe will get its share of the sales tax. We're not just reliant on sales at physical plants. So that is why the retail occupation tax has gone up. There is this shift. And the other part of this is if a municipality has a local sales tax, that local sales tax also goes to the municipality. So that would be a benefit to the village of Roscoe. All of you notice we don't have a Target, we don't have any big box stores. If we had a local sales tax, every sales tax that is paid or collected from a merchant, and eligible merchants are those who do more than 200 transactions a year or $100,000 in volume. They would be required, if we had that tax, to collect it, and all of it would be remitted to the village. So that would provide the necessary funds for the large-scale projects you wish to do at Willowbrook, Rockton, Main Street, so on and so forth. So what is now happening is that the sales tax will be shifted, the collection of it will be shifted to the municipality where the objects are delivered. So hence why this has changed. The other reason for handing this out to you for your examination of where we spend and what we spend, this is the budget that all of you had passed and went into effect. To give you some idea of how we operate here in the village, because some of you perhaps erroneously believe that the village president here can spend money carte blanche. That does not happen.
I just want to step for the record, not all of us that are current trustees pass this budget.
Okay,
So I'm just saying, like, I'm new as of
Okay.
April election, James
Right.
new as.
so it gives you an idea. These are the ongoing expenses. 90% of this are non-discretionary. They're operating costs. They have existed as long as I've been trustee. They go on and on. You're always going to pay for a police department, for example. Okay, so to give you an idea of how things work, you have before you some examples of everyday operating expenses. The first one that you have is a purchase order. The way the system works is that you within this item, if you take a look at Department 30, which is Public Works, you will see the account number 5860. And just flip to Department 30. Should have put the page number down. I think I'll be able to find it. Page 6. On page 6, if you go all the way down to the bottom, you will see that in account 5860, equipment rentals, based on historic use of what we rent in Public Works Department, a dollar amount was placed there, and that was $14,000. Now, that expenditure was approved when the budget was approved. Now, the implementation comes when our Public Works Director, Mr. Taylor, decides that he needs a street sweeper to clean up after all the candy that crashes to the road after Fall Festival. So he gets quotes, he writes up a purchase order, and you see before you the purchase order. And that purchase order to rent from Turkey Enterprises comes at $3,000. So after the street sweeper does its thing, there'll be an invoice and Tricky will be paid. Now, this originates with the department head. I signed it as a check. Our village administrator was out of town that time, but it is not something that I initiated. It didn't come out of the blue. It's not something I have the power to do on my own. And then secondly, once this appears in the bills, you also have to check to pay it or not pay it. That's how the system works. You have another example, two of them, from the police department, one that happened recently and one that was in March. Again, identified for you is the account number. Department 40 is the police department. And if you look at account number 5990, you will see a category known as operating supplies and budgeted for 2025, and that account was $67,604. Out of that, again, our chief of police needs the items that you see there, ammunition, and it came in at $4,400. You'll see attached to that another invoice, a regular thing that happens, and that's cleaning the firing range. Once again, these items are first broadly okayed by the board in the budget. The day-to-day spending, what's needed, initiated through department heads, and then it is double-checked and signed off by either Joe or myself. Now, to change this system would mean the following. Every invoice would go to committee of the whole. Initiated still by the department heads, goes to committee of the whole, 2 weeks later to the board. So the time delay, the inefficiency, all I can repeat is the inefficiency worked into the day-to-day operations is something that I don't think you intended by the suggestion here of reducing the line item. Most items these days come in at that range. When they're larger, they go to the board automatically. And then, as I said, you have the power to approve them or not, or question when the bills come in. So that's an overview of how the process works. If either one of our department heads wants to speak to any problems or lack thereof in our current system, feel free. I'll call first on our chief of police.
No, I mean, it's basically the way it operates. Anything up to anything over 500 to 5,000. Just have approved, and like I said, these items are already approved in a fiscal budget as line items, subcategory line items that we already know that we're purchasing. I mean, there are some other things like that comes across for operational expenses that we don't know. Pop up all the time. Or happen all the time, and stuff we need within the police department or to operate, so, but these examples alone are actually purchases, between 25 and 5,000 range that are predetermined already over here, right?
But I just want to clarify though, but it's the budget, the operational budget for the department is already set in stone, correct? So like
Yes.
we've already approved that you have the ability to spend up to this amount of money, but it needs secondary approval, make sure you haven't gone over your budget for the year, obviously.
No, it's individual line items, basically, so like this one, like the ammo. I believe in that line item, that's an operational budget part, and so that we had like $65,000. We had made, there was 2 purchases of ammo this year, because we usually purchase one earlier in the year. And then we do training halfway throughout the year, and then sure apply after that. Plus we also rotate rounds, like duty and mission stuff, like once a year, sure it's fresh, and have any, functions or anything. That. So that actually then comes out of that $65,000 line item. This is just one of numerous things in that category. And you have listed in that category for stuff that we purchase on, frankly.
Budget.
There's so much stuff in there, so, yes.
So if you budget 10,000, you spend 10,000.
Yeah, basically, I
Spend,
mean, I had $10,000 for him this year we spent.
and that's already been okay.
And 5,000 beginning, of 5,000.
But to make it happen every day, there needs to be the invoice and someone has to sign off on it. And we sign off on it when those expenses do not exceed $5,000. So nothing changes, but it would be slowed down because now you are asking by reducing this to 2,500 that all of these invoices come before the board. And so every 2 weeks, the committee of the whole, you'll have a list of every invoice that ranges from 2,500 to 5,000.
You know,
And then to the board. So it slows everything down.
I would say,
Trustee
could I
Cordes.
just say something here? For Dane's benefit, John's benefit, is when we go through this budget process, it's pretty painful, 3 months process. But what happens is the departments come with their budget based on what previous expenses have been. So they present that we ultimately all decide every line item, okay, that's what they need. And if it comes down to pretty much everything, I mean, I don't know what the exact percentage is, it's not discretionary, it's like, hey, this is how much it costs. So that's how we get this budget and these numbers approved. So to me, if we do this lowering, we're gonna vote on the same thing we've already approved. And that this 3-month process that we get to that point.
I don't think that the part of that motion was for something that was already approved in the budget. I think it was for items outside of.
But I think, Carol, that's what you're saying, it's going to affect it.
There's, nothing outside of, so we have a financial policy, you guys have all seen, it's in the ordinance, and it's also in our book we adopted, but so anything, it's just extra check and balance, right? So you adopt the budget every year. From $0 to $500. Anyway, sorry, anything over $500, we always have to have a purchase order. So the department heads will sign the purchase order, I sign it, or Carol will sign the purchase order, so it's an extra check. Purchase fee. It's between the 500 and or $5,000, it's that extra, up to $2,500, they can do that. When we get to the $5,000, just an extra, sort of extra check where they can't just go ahead with it, they had to bring it to Carol or I, up to between $2,500 and $5,000. But regardless, it always has to be approved as part of the budget, it has to be a budgeted item, right? One of those line item areas of the budget. We don't have any authority to do it, it's just that extra check between those numbers. And then ultimately, every single invoice, the ultimate check is that you approve every one of those invoices. So right now, for the up to $500 ones, just department heads are authorized to purchase between $5,000 and $5,000 currently. We have the extra check where Carol and I have to also authorize it as well. And then anything over that, you have to do it ahead of time to the committee to authorize that purchase. And then it comes back to the committee again, and you authorize it again when you actually authorize the payment of the bills. So regardless, everything comes to the board. Board's the ultimate determination of what gets purchased. It's just that it's that extra check in between there, but.
And to get back to your original question, there can be no expenditure on anything that does not appear within the budget. So it has to be authorized within the budget. So whether they be consulting services or furniture or repair of building or buying new chairs here for this dais, if there's a furniture item for Village Hall, then it would have to come out of that budget. And that would be something that you would have discussed at the budget time. Because we did one year talk about replacing those things and got a cost and it just never happened. And so it wasn't brought up again. So that's how the input here from the board happens. And as William indicated, it was a long process going over things and explaining, and you have the drill down in the financial, it's all there, even for the public to see. So just wanted to give you some clarification as to how the system works as new, and this was new business, not to be decided this evening, just simply some information. If you have any further questions, feel feel free to call. We can discuss more, give you more examples, and talk to department heads as to how it works. Or ask Joe, or review your handbook, your Illinois Municipal Guide as to municipal finance and how the system works. But there are multiple checks and balances, and our audit every year lauds us for the internal checks and balances that we have in place.
Can I ask, I know we have, for precedence for back in 2017, when they raised it from 2,000 to 5,000. Do we know what was the reasoning then?
It's because things are expensive. I mean, the ammo, right? That's what we have right in front of us. So that's a good example. Is that things go up, the prices went up so much. As opposed to you bring an ammo invoice in, say, order this month ammo, bring it to the board approves that purchase. Then in 2 weeks after that or whatever, it goes back to the board for their approval. It's just, we have to operate the village. We have we're operating the village. It's just, things have gone up since
Right.
the past.
Well, another example
That's the
that
big
will
example.
come to you in a couple of weeks. In the past, to replace a culvert, at one time, I remember, always used to be under $3,000. Now, good luck, nothing comes under $3,000. So this board is going to be asked in 2 weeks to approve culvert replacements that came in higher than even you thought or were presented 2 weeks ago. We're just like everybody else. It's trying to catch a falling knife here. Prices increase astronomically. And you heard tonight too, this building of the pop-up markets, when it was priced over a year ago, everyone thought, oh, wow, you could do it for $1 million, and then it comes in at twice. We're slammed and having to pay prevailing wage for everything and so on and so forth. It all adds to it. So that's why being long reason, but things have escalated for the village as well as any other business. Right, so that will be coming forward. Any other questions?
So last 2 weeks ago, we, in committee of the whole, we voted on this. Where does that go?
This was a first read. It will come back, as I said, okay? Asking you to reconsider. Do you want to build in increased efficiencies and increased work for department heads? It does not change any of the policy. It doesn't get to any defined problem. If your defined problem is get Carol because you believe all the diatribe here of
That's your opinion.
it certainly is, and
Question.
it is
Yes.
his as well, and it is also
Question.
correct to this power struggle that's going on
Just
and
ask the
not
question.
acting in the best interest of the village
That's your
here.
opinion.
That is true, and it's evident in the way in which you act.
No.
So you have an
That's a
opportunity
simple
here
question.
to,
Simple answer.
right, and never want to hear it when it disagrees with what you have to say.
Because you're never.
So in 2 weeks here, you'll be able to do something here and hope you do the right thing. All right, under
good.
questions and reports, anything from the department heads? All right, public comment? Yes, please.
Hi,
state your name.
this is, I'm relatively new to Roscoe, and this is my first meeting that I've attended, and I have to say, I was appalled by the letter that the non-present trustee wrote. I feel bad that John had to read that aloud. I'm sure he didn't agree with all of that. It was really out. This man obviously harbors some sort of personal agenda. It was bad. I'm leaving this meeting with a very bad taste in my mouth that this was even going to be said. The other issue I just wanted to comment on was that mural is ugly. It is very ugly. However, as a tax-paying citizen of this community, there's no way that I feel that my tax dollars or public money should go to repainting it. If the business or the man who owns the building wants to whitewash the side of that building, would probably be the best thing he could do. If they want to have some sort of a mural, like they did in Woodstock where I lived, they had amazing murals done all along a walkway right down from the square. But they're very nice and they're very appropriate for the city, but that those things should be paid for by private dollars or a fundraiser or whatever it is, that they want to do. But I don't condone using my tax dollars to put a mural on the side of a public or a privately owned building. Thank you.
Do you state your name, please? for the-
Yes, my name is Lucy, last name Kurchak, Krchak,
Sorry, AR.
Krchak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing
Welcome to
to
the
make
area.
public comment?
Thank you and welcome to Roscoe.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Terry Brock, Kelmore Drive, regarding the Hodges Run project. If something gets started, or if it doesn't even get started this year, maybe a sign could be put up. For the people that drive through the subdivision, especially at Christmas time, to let them know what we're gonna be doing in there. I think that'd be a good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry.
Anyone else? No need for executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Being adjourned at 7:40.
Just need water. Give me 2 minutes.
Here, you gotta sign.
I gotta time my life away. So. Wow. Okay.